Hi, I'm Gary Bembridge from Tips for Travellers, and in this video I'm going to tell you how to make the most of Venice, how to survive this crazy city. The historic part of Venice has a population of around about 60,000 permanently. The bigger area has about 250,000, but the city gets between 50,000 and 60,000 tourists a day. It's manically busy, and so with these tips that I'm going to give you, this will tell you how you make the most of your trip to Venice. My first tip is watch my must-see and must-do Venice video. Now, don't go there straight away, because at the end of this video I will have the whole video and it tells you what you absolutely should see if you're in Venice. And so my second tip for making the most of Venice is plan when you come. 500 cruise ships visit every single year, and that is really when Venice gets really packed. So I'm here at the beginning of October when I videoed this, and we've been here for 2 days and there's been 5 cruise ships every day. So the city gets packed with cruise passengers, lots of tours, etc. So one of the things to do is to look at the time of year. So if you come in March, which is really before the cruise season starts, or you come in October when the cruise season is kind of wrapping up, you probably will find it's a little bit quieter. One of the things I would suggest you do if you're planning to visit is take a look at a site like cruisetimetables.com and search for Venice, and that will tell you how many cruise ships are going to be in the town when you're here, and that gives a sense of just how packed the city will be. The other thing to do is it gets very busy on weekend. Lots of people come to Venice for romantic weekends, so if you can, try and avoid the weekend. In terms of time of year, so that's really March and October are great times of the year to come when they're likely to be quieter. My third tip really is one of the big challenges of Venice is a massive big tourist trap, because so many visitors come into Venice and it's really just built up this whole industry of lots and lots of tourist traps. A couple of things that you should absolutely look out for. In some of the big tourist centres like St. Mark's Square, be extremely careful, because you might find having a round of coffees between 3 or 4 of you could cost you 100 euros, because a lot of those places will charge you up to 25 euros, that's nearly $30 simply for sitting down. That's before you've even ordered your coffee. So really, before you go into any place, check if they're going to charge you a sort of a cover charge for simply being there. The second thing is really avoid restaurants which have multiple languages, because you're probably going to get ripped off, because they are really tourist trap places. The food's not great. So again, places like near Rialto Bridge, you'll also find it's just crazy busy. If you really want to have Italian gelato, one of the things I would strongly recommend you do is again avoid tourist areas. If you find gelato which is very brightly coloured and really sort of piled up high like that, it probably is not proper, genuine, homemade gelato. It's probably more kind of manufactured and sort of whipped up, so it's probably not going to be proper gelato. Another thing to watch out for is you'll find various people setting up stores selling sort of designer bags. Again, clearly they're all fakes, and really be very careful that you don't get ripped off and confused over pricing, but certainly remember those bags are going to be fake bags. And so my next tip is around souvenirs. The two most popular souvenirs within Venice are Murano glass and masks. Of course, Venice is famous for its mask balls. However, again, be extremely careful, because a lot of those you will find are basically made in China. So you'll find glass which is very inexpensive. It's not Murano glass, it's probably Chinese. And again, there's lots of masks which are really inexpensive. If you genuinely want to buy Italian-made Murano glass and it's beautiful Italian masks, you're going to pay a lot of money. So make sure that you again avoid the sort of the big tourist areas, the little stalls on the side of the canals, and perhaps if you really want to buy Murano glass, actually head out to Murano Island, then you can be absolutely sure it is genuine. Another thing that people of course like to do when they come to Venice is go on a gondola ride. However, be very careful, because this could end up costing you a lot of money. So only go on a gondola ride if you really want to be able to tick it off the bucket list. So it's likely to cost you around 80 euros for about a 40-minute ride, and then it goes up in increments every 20 minutes, so it could cost you another 40 euros. So it could cost you around $100 US. The price goes up fairly significantly after 7 o'clock at night, when it becomes 100 euros. So you'd like to be paying 120 euros, and again, you have increments of around about 40 euros for every 20 minutes after that. So it is a pretty expensive thing to do, so only really do it if you really want to just be able to tick it off. A great alternative to doing a gondola ride, which personally I prefer, is the water buses, because it costs around 20 euros for a 24-hour pass, so that's about $25 US, and they have great itineraries. They're very easy to work out. The maps are really good, they're very well signposted, and even if you end up going in the wrong direction, it's not a very big city, you just jump off and get on in the other direction. But it's about 20 euros for a 24-hour pass. It goes down the Grand Canal, it heads pretty much everywhere you want to go, and I think it's a much better way than going on a gondola personally. Also, you get a chance to take great photographs. you know, a lot of the video I've taken in this I've taken basically from the water buses. My next tip is that Venice gets very hot and very sticky in summer, and in winter it gets really cold. You know, it's surrounded by water and it gets very, very hot, very humid, and also gets very cold. So again, you know, make sure that you're prepared. If you know, it's very expensive to buy things like water, so if you're here in summer, you know, perhaps bring your own water, and make sure that you really do wrap up warm if you're here in winter. The other thing to be prepared for is what's known as the Aqua Alta. The Aqua Alta are the floods that basically swamp parts of Venice, particularly St. Mark's Square, every single year. They have 100 of them every year, and it's basically caused by high tides. But there is 100, so there's quite a strong chance that when you're in Venice you might find them. They tend to be more sort of in winter time. So what you'll find, and you'll see them dotted around the city, are these sort of risen platforms, and you kind of wonder what they're for. But when it floods, basically they lay those out as pathways so that you can kind of walk along those pathways. One of the best ways to get a great experience out of Venice is to get lost. Don't just stick in the main tourist areas, just go down side roads and walk along, and you'll come across great canals, great bridges, and it'll be much quieter, like for example the one that I'm actually on right now. It gets so packed, so busy in the busy parts of Venice, and it's quite nice just to head down these little canals, and you'll find little taxis going down, you'll find little shops. And one of the great places, if you head to St. Mark's Square with the waterfront in front of you, turn left and just keep walking and walking. You'll get to a region called Castello. That's where lots of the locals live, and there's some very beautiful houses. It's very quiet, no one really goes there, but do that kind of thing, just get lost, and you'll soon find your way back, because you'll soon find your way back to one of the canals. It's not a very big city, and it's very easy to find your way back. So do get lost, just get away from where the throngs are, and really then you'll get a real sense of Venice, and you'll get great pictures. Probably one of the best tips that I can give you in Venice is to be an early bird and a late bird. As I mentioned, you know, cruise ships come in, and you know, a lot of people get up late. So actually, if you want to really have Venice to yourself and see great things, get up early in the morning, get out before all the crowds and before the cruise ships have sort of got everybody off. Bear in mind, the cruise ships will arrive 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, so it'll be a while before they get processed and head into the city. So get up early and, you know, spend time there. If you're not on a cruise ship, the other thing that you do is later in the afternoon, because bear in mind, most people have to be back at their cruise ships because they'll set sail, you know, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So as the sun goes down, I mean, Venice is very beautiful, and it's also a great time, of course, so as you like to take pictures, you know, the morning and the evening are those kind of golden hours where you get great light, and it's a brilliant time to take pictures. And it's also so much more quiet and less crazy, and that I would strongly recommend. And so there you have it. That's my tips on how do you make the most of this crazy city. It's an amazing place. It's one of a kind. It's a great place to visit, but bear in mind, it's going to be very busy. It's a real tourist trap place, and you need to be a little bit smart about how you do it. So now watch the video about the must-see and things to do in Venice, this amazing city, but it's packed, it's busy, it's a bit of a tourist scam, so you really need to know your way around.